welcome back to A Brummy Wonders. Now, if you go back to right at the start of the channel, this is how it all began. It was all about, well, it was during lockdown anyway, and it was all about presentations, knocking about on a webcam, and just showing you around the internet, basically. And yeah, I used to make slideshows and bits and bobs, which I'm sure I'll get back to. But basically, I'm back here because winter has defeated me, and it keeps getting dark too quick. I keep waking up too late. Thank you, freelance life. A quiet month it is, so basically, I just want to nail the time down and get some actual information on the internet because I mean, this isn't me tickling my own pickle here, but because I was high as hell when I was recording all that stuff at the start of the channel. If you look at Land and what else was I doing? I can't remember. There was all these kind of alternate history stuff, and I'll watch them back now, and I'm impressed with how much time I put into it and how much diving I was doing. But again, lockdown did provide a hell of a lot of time, and I've got a hell of a lot of time right now, so maybe we can do it all over again and deep dive on some stuff that no one really usually does. Today, I'll be doing because I'm going to stick with the local history because I am a Brummy Wonders, and this is just something that I never had a clue was happening until like the other day. So before I embarrass myself, let me just get the news of who's making this. I literally just started recording again because right, here we go. Right. Grimshaw. Grimshaw's the builders, the gentrifiers, the whatever they do, but they make lovely CGI. Here we go. I'm going to show you. Don't worry, I'm here for you, and you get your own version. So here you go. All right. So the Aston Villa ground, just down the road from me. Here it is on the map. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure I've mentioned it plenty of times on the channel. And if you are a regular watcher, viewer, yeah, I imagine I've pulled this up at some point about, right next door. You got Aston Hall, which is what Oliver Cromwell had a go at in the Civil War. And again, we've looked into that a fair bit, but that's not what today's about. It's not about medieval history. We're on about today and where it's all heading, and the stops and starts and the problems with it going ahead, and the reasons behind it, and the budgets for it, and blah blah blah. I actually don't know a lot, and I'm going to learn a lot with you as I look through the internet. So let's start with a bit of background. I was literally just on Twitter, I believe, now known as X, of course. It's 2024, and came across the fact that, yeah, what they call Grimshaws. I forgot already. Fantastic. Grimshaws, I think. But yeah, they've come up with this. This was released last year in about July, August kind of time, 2023. Apparently, there was a big kind of public application, and what would you call it when they get in touch with everyone in the area and just kind of make sure they're happy with the plans. Um, but a public consultation. It's written right there. It's right there. But yeah, I never received one, and I live half a mile, 1 mile from the place, but I never got nothing, so I know nothing. So let's learn together. If you are local and a fan, and you can jump a comment in and just tell me if you were told anything about this either, that'd be cool, because apparently 10,000 people were asked about this. Not me. But to be honest, it doesn't look too crazy. I mean, the CGI is lovely, but it's basically the same as the new square in West Brom, really. I mean, we won't go into that yet. We'll compare and contrast afterwards. But yeah, there's basically a new shopping centre called the New Square in West Bromwich, which looks very much like this photo, to be honest. It's just not a football place. It's a Primark and a Costa Coffee and a cinema. But nothing new going on here. The weather, it's not like that too often. Look at everyone in their shirts. Good Lord. So let's have a look at how they are selling this to the people, or how they sold this to the people, because it doesn't sound like this is going ahead anytime soon. And then we'll look at the reality of the situation. And then we'll have to grasp the concept that maybe a lot of the things in the area are going to have to disappear to make this happen, because it's an absolute shithole. So, currently, anyway, it used to be lovely, which maybe we're returning to the heydays, but I very much doubt it. So let's look at this. Let's read this together. So this was actually released on the 25th of August, 22. So it's not even last year. I had no idea. I mean, I'm not a reader of the local paper. I don't read the Metro on the bus. I barely catch the bus, so all my fault, really. I was actually busy with the Commonwealth Games, AVing and doing all kinds of stuff around that at this time, so I missed it completely. But maybe that's why it was released at this time, because we're obviously, if you just go back a couple of videos, we're on about the Commonwealth Games and all the buildings and all the crap that was built for that and then abandoned straight away as soon as the games are over. And this must have been released as a bit of news to like keep the community sporting along. But anyway, I'm rattling on a little bit here. Birmingham-based Aston Villa Football Club has brought its stadium plans to life by releasing a host of CGI images showing what the redevelopment and expansion will look like once complete. Now remember, this is 18 months ago now. Fantastic. The club also announced it will submit the planning application for the scheme by the end of this month. This follows a public consultation it ran in June and July, which reached nearly 10,000 residents and businesses, stakeholders and fans. I'm going to say mostly stakeholders and fans, businesses and residents. I mean, businesses who may want to get involved with this, yes, but the residents who may be complaining about the fact that they might be completely removed from the area, I doubt they heard about this one. I mean, this is before. I mean, what? Actually, just after this point, we had like Bon Jovi playing there. I think Foo Fighters were going to play. I don't know if Sugar Babes got round to it, but you know what I mean. Like, just all the rubbish playing round the corner. It was just a new lease of life for the stadium. But anyway, let's have a quick look at this photo. Lovely, lovely. So this is the North End, I believe. Now, I'm not a football fan. I don't really understand any of this. I just know, yeah, I mean, it's the Doug Ellis Stadium, is it? The Trinity Stadium? But I know Doug Ellis is the man who got this ball rolling, or is he the current manager? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I'm going to shut up. But anyway, established in 1874, the Aston Villa team, and I think it was around 1898 by the time they actually had the stadium. And what did the stadium used to be? Is it time to show you? I'm going to say yes. So let's have a quick look at Aston Lower Grounds, just so you can see how lovely this was in the late 19th century. Such a shame, really. Such a shame. Is that a good enough photo? That's not so bad, is it? There you go. So it was lovely. It was all for the people. It was a little offshoot, I think, of Aston Hall itself, because it's just over the road. Aston Hall being super old, but I'm not going to quote any years right now because I can't remember. But all of this, there was an ice skating rink. There were bars, I believe. There was a ballroom. There was just all kinds of like pleasure grounds, essentially. And then that got phased out because football seems to have got popular by the 70s. It looked like they had a bit of a ground at the time. If I knock it back, I mean, there's a bit of a drawing or an engraving from back in the day, and I believe the stadium itself is in this lakey area. Not sure what this was, but it looks like that was basically the recreational pitch. That looks a bit churchy, but obviously it's not. The whole area's changed, and the River Tame still here, but not quite the big feature that it is today. Actually, is that the River Tame there, or is this a field? Anyway, we'll show you the River Tame in a minute. It's the nicest part of the area, and it's pretty shit. So there you go. Is there a picture of the original pitch? I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I doubt that's anything to do with it, actually. Potentially, that's the old... Oh, yeah, because there's Aston Hall up there. So, yeah, this is the original manifestation of the grounds. So let's just jog along the history a little bit more, and then hopefully it'll all start to pull together and make sense. So there's the changing face of Villa Park. How cool. Let's go into this website. I mean, oh gosh. So yeah, 1897, quite fittingly, only 7 days after the League Cup double had been achieved. Moving out of their old Perry Bar ground at Wellington Road was the crowning moment to a marvellous season. Well, I didn't know they were at Perry Bar ground. Is that where the Greyhounds are now? I think so, but again, I have no idea. Blah de blah, 15,000 spectators at the time, and now they're looking to expand to around 50,000. Now, I don't know if you're from the area, but the parking situation when it comes to match day is an absolute joke. And there's one train that runs in that particular area. The other ones are a bit too far away, like Gravelly Hill and Erdington. Bit too far away. The buses, links, and all that aren't particularly brilliant. It's on the, I think there's a bus called the 11, which is the biggest bus route in Europe. Did you know? That flies past, I believe. But again, that's like depending where you're coming from, that could take up to an hour and a half, I think, to get to the stadium. So a lot of people driving in, and parking in the most dangerous way, considering we've had terrorism in the past, and we'll get to that in a minute. But it doesn't seem to matter. Like it seems like the only thing in the area is football, where you can just get away with anything. There's no parking wardens when it comes to football. You can park absolutely anywhere you want. It's an absolute free for all. Um, and yeah, 50,000 attendants we're going to be soon. And the one thing they haven't thought of building is a damn car park, because obviously we're getting rid of all the cars, aren't we? So we'll go into the new news soon about how they were planning on you know extending or expanding on public transport links. But we'll look at how much more there was back in the day, because we had trams back in the day, because immediately opposite the stadium here, on this corner, hang on, where am I? Get my bearings. So here's the old tram station, which is now a kind of Asian weddings and yeah, exhibition kind of suite. Don't know how well it's doing. I think it's called the Regent Suites, but we'll have a little look, because we can, because it's the age of the internet. So let's dive into what the area actually looks like. Come on, little yellow man. Bam. So here's the main roundabout, Witten roundabout. There's the old Aston Hotel. I imagine that was thrown there due to the football more than what used to be there. There's our new Tesco. It's been there a few years, doing really well. And then here we have the old tram stop. And then obviously you can see just down there on Witten Lane, there's where the Doug Ellis stand is. But here, the Borough of Aston Manor Tramways Depot, which is cool, isn't it? That is cool. I think you can see remains of blood on the floor. No, it's not true. That's probably paint. We hope, but we don't know. Yeah, it's not being looked after in the best way. I'm sure you could see the remains of tram lines just there before, so that's a shame that they've gone. But yeah, this is where they always used to park up. And like on match days back in the day, there'd be dedicated football Villa fan trams. Extended service to get everyone in and out of town. And I believe it was either a very tasty a price or basically free. But we'll confirm that later if I can be bothered. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And then opposite side of the road, this is what is looking at being improved upon. Can I zoom out? I can. Whoa, too far. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So this is where Villa Live's going to end up. So the big graphic that we've just looked at is this area. Let's get back to that graphic. There it is. What else can we look at, which gives us a bit more of an idea of what's going on? Again, I'm sorry. I mean, feel free to skip ahead or just feel free to stick with me and browse with me. Learn with Brummy if you want. So let's see if there's any more CGI that we can bend our heads around. Not a fat lot. What's this? Okay, let's just Google Earth. It's doing half the job for me. Fantastic. No, I saw. Did see more drawings than this. Unveils images. I mean, that's fairly close. You can see a bit more there, but not a fat lot actually. Let's bang it out a bit. Oh, what a shame. I'm sure we'll come across it soon. But yeah, it's the area. There's going to be like a merch shop. They're looking at putting like an exhibition stand in there. I don't know. They're going to throw like a conference venue and an event suite, a history display area to promote the history of the ground. And they also want to extend, I think it's the North Stand. I don't know football, so North Stand, I think currently the whole place gets about 47,000 in, I believe, and they're looking at expanding that to 50,000. And kind of in the last year or so, they've already kind of done up and improved the bar. And by that, I mean, the only reason I know about it is I work with an avid Villa fan. And he just kind of complained that the new bar system isn't particularly great. So it's like a self-service points at the Villa Aston. Oh, here's my dog. Do you want feeding? In a minute. In a minute. Good boy. So self-pour bar. Let's have a look at this. Apparently it's rubbish and it hasn't sped up anything and it's all just a bit of a hoo-ha to get a pint now. And last time I went there, I mean, I've worked there and done a few conferences and bits and bobs, but the last time I attended a match was probably the year 2000 with my uncle. And to be honest, I was there for the pre-pub Bomberman machine and then the pie during the match. I remember none of the football. I don't remember anything. I think it was a Man United match, and I may still have the ticket knocking about in an old toy box, but we'll dig that out. Accept, go away. Right, so this is what they've got now. This is just a big history and current lesson about Villa Park all of a sudden, so I hope you're enjoying it. Maybe we'll all go down and visit. Maybe. But there you go. So now you pour your own pint, you get your card there, contactless, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, pints of absolute trash if they pour lovely and straight into a plastic cup, which is pretty sad. Please don't cry, Pippin. Please don't cry. Right, I'll be back in a minute because I've got to feed my dog. How do I pause this? Can ya? Oh, I can't. That's a bit of a nightmare. Really? You can't pause a recording? Well, in that case, we'll carry on. Sorry, Pippin. Um. Oh yeah, you can actually. I can just press stop and then start again when this is done. Is that right? Oh man, I don't want to make any guesses. It's been too long. No, I'm carrying on. Right. So yeah, self-pour system. Aston Villa have decided to install a self-pour bar in the Aston Villa concourses to give supporters the option to make their own drinks, and it's been described as the future of football by some. Wow. Stop interviewing football fans. It was the memorable Friday night in Birmingham for many Villa supporters. Goals from Leon Bailey and Emi Bundia secured an important 3 points against a struggling Leeds side who just sit 2 points above the relegation zone. I think that's bad. Most fans inside Villa Park were content with their matchday experience this week, but it wasn't just the performance on the pitch that had people talking. The Premier League outfitted and plaudits after the self-pour bar was installed in the concourses so fans can pour their own pints and pay with their card to save queuing up. But is it cheaper? I bloody doubt it. It looked like it was $4.50 a pint there, which is actually not the most unreasonable in town, even this side of town. But if you're pouring it yourself, I mean, huh? You what? That's what we got here. There was certainly a mixed reaction from the bar on social media. One said this has nothing to do with queuing. This has nothing to do with queuing. It all to do with employing less staff. Correct. Well done. Just as the same self-service checkouts in the supermarkets. Correct. I'm actually jealous. That's a great idea considering the staff serve depressing pints. Okay. A genius idea, but I have to feel for the hospitality staff that will lose their jobs as a result. They already have lost their jobs. Let's not talk in the future. It's gone. There's a guy in a van who drops off kegs now and he just plums them in. That's it. Everything else is taken care of. And obviously, it's cash free once you start hitting these kind of self service things. I don't know if you've noticed, but nothing is cash based anymore. And what does that mean for the future? I'll do a video on that soon. Probably after this one, directly after, because it's a quiet night. So yeah, we showed very good character. Oh, well, we're just talking about football now. Who cares? So yeah, that's where they're at. The self-pouring pints for the people. Brilliant, eh? Brilliant. We'll go into, I mean, not in this episode, but I'm sure we'll revisit this. And yeah, I wanted to actually touch on the future and where that's all heading. I already did a big ranty video about this, but it was a bit too ranty. So we're going to wind it back and hit one thing at a time. So yeah, this is the future then. So now we know what it's trying to look like. Is there the aerial shot? That's what I wanted because we're going to compare that to reality. Because my God, it's not what it looks like, is it? Okay, how do I do this? So I need Villa Live proposal. I need where's it gonna be? I saw a really good picture. There it is. Cool. So aerial view. Beautiful, eh? So you've got, I mean, some of this is already built. So there's the current stand. I think that's including, yeah, so that's with all the changes as well. So that's not there yet. This isn't so nice. And it looks like it's going to be a dedicated walkway between here all the way through here to this new youth training ground thing that's been built. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with the fact that they didn't build a car park now because 50,000 people, what are you going to do about that? But I'd have thought they could have just banged the car park there rather than a training zone because I think Bodymore Heath is where the Aston Villa training is. But obviously, that's far too posh to convince local kids that they can learn to play football here instead. Probably play way above the odds to get involved, rinse the parents, don't stick them in the team. And then, yeah, you've just got a facility, haven't you? You've got a facility. But it's yeah, come on now. It's not quite the same as Bodymore Heath, is it? My God. And it just looks like a big tent from the road, but they have put some nice fencing up. I give them that. Um, but yeah, so this area is my concern. What's going to happen? I mean, the housing looks like it remains. Sorry, I keep looking at the actual screen. I'll try and keep looking this way. Don't want to make you feel uninvolved. But yeah, this walkway, the gentrified kind of low traffic neighborhood esque looking thing, uh, very well lit. It's just not going to look like this, and I'm going to show you why. Or it is, but a lot has to change to make this happen. So let's just look at what we're actually playing with. I didn't realise they got a bit of stuff here though. Just don't get sports stadiums. It's not for me. A lot of money passing hands. It's like if the football team do well, obviously everyone does well out of it, but if the football team do bad, it's just the staff and the hospitality side that take the hit. I mean, obviously you could just keep paying the team whatever they're contracted to be paid. Bit of a joke, to be honest, bit of a joke. But you've got this is all old housing in this area. As you can tell, it's like it's a one step away from back to backs, but it's not back to backs. If you ever watched East is East, that's what we're kind of talking around here. And I don't think East is East was back to backs. I don't think. These are all Edwardian houses. For the workers back in the day, work in the area, including the GEC, the MEB, and the markets here. I can't remember what was actually in Aston Hub, but even now there's the wholesale markets in there, I believe. And yeah, God knows what else at the time. Manufacturing and cars, I imagine, and tram drivers. But yeah, let's have a little dive in. So it's this road, isn't it? Is what they're saying. They're going to make all nice for the future. So let's. I mean, this is very well lit as well. This is not how it looks. I should do a walk round there, but I can't. I'd rather not, to be honest. It's basically just a bit of a hole. Wow, they made it look so nice on camera. So basically, this is what do they call that? Witten Lane Gardens, which is like a basketball area, graffiti practice zone, shooting up zone, whatever. It's rubbish. I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah, these aren't photos. I need to go to Street View for them photos, don't I? To get the real deal. So can I drop this man down there? Let's get into the fucking meat of it. Right. So straight away, yeah, it's all, little 4G towers, 5G, whatever you want there. Horrible adverts all over the shop. It's looking all right this side, let's be honest. That's all right, isn't it? But down here, mate, just adverts for shite. I mean, this is looking like it was a nice day at least. That's all right. But good lord, good lord, it's just like prison yard, isn't it? Not gardens. I wouldn't describe it as gardens. There you go, skank, awesome, yeah. So that's what the area is really. Let's just move down there a little bit. Now, I don't know how nice this area really was back in the day with the lower Aston grounds and all that stuff, but from my living memory, and I'm 31 now and I've lived in the area the whole time, always been pretty horrible around here. My actual first memory, and obviously memories usually happen, or you store them because they were terrifying and or scary, and you're scarred for life. And one of the first for me is driving down Witten Road. Now it's just at a right angle. What would you call that? Perpendicular or something to this road. So if you did a left at the roundabout, let's do it. We've got time. So you go down that road, you do a left at the roundabout, and then you're on the high street of Witten. And we were driving my nan down there. Can't remember why she was this end, but she was like an old school nan kind of thing. Um, didn't like the area particularly anyway. She was a Sutton lady. But we are driving down, heading towards, I think, my auntie's pub at the time. And yeah, kid threw a firework into the road, a lit one. And then it kind of went under the cars. And little old 7-year-old me's just like, what the fuck? And then, yeah, dad didn't panic. No one panicked in the car. But I'm like, my God. And then, yeah, it kind of took off Heard the pop, but it didn't explode under our petrol tank, thank Lord. But yeah, what a bloody weird area, and it hasn't improved since. It's just getting busier and weirder, and yeah, I don't know. Go and visit yourself. You tell me. Is it nice? Do you like it? I mean, let's keep going. I mean, you can't really guess the year when you're looking at these cars. Is it 2008? Is it 2015? Who knows? But this is the actual reality of it. So this is yeah, whatever. Bit of a school. I know not a fat lot about this area. All I know is you can sneak round the back of all these roads when the roundabout gets a little bit too busy. But again, there's just no real road laws or anything around here. But they're going to have to plough through this fence by the looks of it to join up with that ground as pictured here. Oh, where have I gone? Here? There you go. So they have to bust through that fence, or they're not ever going to because there's a train line there. So this must be bullshit from the start. Like this isn't going to happen, is it? And then you walk all the way through, and that's the River Thames. So apparently there's going to be a bridge they're going to build to get over the River Thames too, just so you can walk to the training ground. I guarantee this isn't going to happen. You heard it here first, and it sounds like this ain't going to happen anyway. This just looks nice, doesn't it? But currently under the current shite that's going on, basically. A lot of things are being pulled and not happening, or they're being delayed. So this is what brought me the news to my attention today, actually, or yesterday, was the fact that they're putting the stop on it for a little bit, because they don't need to disrupt the football because Villa are doing so well. So wouldn't it be a shame to rip apart the North Stand whilst Villa are performing well? So they're not going to yet. But also, I mean, there's more to it, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, let's get to delay. Is it Grimshaw Villa Live? Suspended. Here we go. So, Grimshaw's plans to expand Aston Villa Stadium suspended. Grimshaw's architects approved plans to expand Villa's football ground at Villa Park have now been shown the red card. Ha ha! Aston Villa's club president of business operations, Chris Heck, told Villa TV last month that the expansion plans for the stadium would be paused under proposals drawn up by Grimshaw, to which Birmingham City Council gave its consent in December. The ground's north stand was to be demolished and replaced. Now, if you do go into... Oh, my missus is here. Un momento. Right, and we're back. It's a little bit later on now. The missus has got home. We've had a nice catch up. It's probably, actually, it's only 8:30, so we're all right. But I'm going to be a little bit quieter because I live in a flat, and that's what people do. Because I'm respectful. It's a dying art. More on that later. Probably in another episode. Just people are rude. But anyway, so yeah, under proposals drawn up by Grimshaw, to which Birmingham City Council gave its consent in December 2022, the ground's north stand was to be demolished and replaced. And I have just lined up these two just so we can see the difference there. So that's the current north stand. Bloody awful. It just looks like a lot of the flats and the brutalist kind of stuff that knocked around in what, the 70s? Is that when that happened? 60s? But yeah, you know, Birmingham Library and all that, they got killed. Looks like that. So that's going, and it's going to look like this, as we know. So it's, I mean, I wonder if they'd actually bother making the Villa thing out of bricks. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Fair play. But yeah, so yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's the difference. So the £100 million scheme. Now we know. I mean, let's look at HS2. That's going to be under budget, isn't it? So £100 million scheme would have the Premier League side stadium capacity reach 50,000, allowing the club to host games during the 2028 European Football Championships and bringing it further in line with rival clubs. Well, I didn't realise it was undersized, but there you go. There you go. That's all it's about. However, Heck said that the demolition of the North Stand would cause disruption while the club was performing well. So apparently, I don't know. How are Villa doing? Should we have a look? Villa in the tables, is that how people do this? Um, that's the Villa table. Yeah, that's oh, they're number 2. Well done, guys. Well done. Kick that ball. And off the back of this, actually, there's a little bit more news. Do I do it first or do I do it after? But because they're doing so well, there's a few more decent contracts coming through, such as Adidas want to do their kit for the next season. Is that right? We'll get to that in a minute, if I remember. But yeah, so yeah, they're doing great. So it's not the time to knock down half the stadium, is it? Fair enough. So I think it would be a bad idea to turn down one of the blah blah blah. Yes, everything should be about the fans and not just one particular stand. Okay. Last summer, proposals for the new 6,500 metre squared multi-purpose space called Villa Live, providing a box office, a club shop, a cafe, and replacing the existing Aston Villa FC shop, which I imagine is that bloody thing in the car park currently. Correct me in the comments. They're building a security lodge. Were shelved. Oh, right. So none of this is happening. Last summer, proposals were shelved. Revised plans, including updates to the North Stand scheme, were later submitted and approved by Birmingham City Council, together with the alternative multi-purpose retail and entertainment space dubbed the Warehouse. Is that what we're seeing now? I guess so. It must be those. Oh, actually, I did see a link about inside the warehouse. Let's have a quick look. No, bugger it. We'll do it in a minute. Actually, yeah, let's get lined up. So, inside the warehouse, Aston Villa. There you go. I was actually thinking what I'd forgot earlier. Thinking I wanted to pull up a window ready for this extended chat. And this is the one. So yeah, latest Aston Villa news from Birmingham Live. As the club prepared to submit revised proposals for the redevelopment, when's this? July 23. So this is like a year after those initial confirmations. Aston Villa will submit a planning application for the renovation of their existing academy building this month, and this will become a multi-use matchday event zone called the Warehouse if the permission is granted. And actually, I should give a good mention to, is it the Witten Arms, which is on that roundabout? They've just had a major refurbishment and turned it into a fan zone essentially with big screens, and they've got bands on all the time. And yeah, proper revived it, and fair play to them. I haven't been yet myself. Didn't go in its old reincarnation because I thought it was a bit rough myself, but apparently it's really nice now. So well done, the Witten Arms. So yeah, former CEO Christian Purslow announced Villa's plans to redevelop Villa Park across several phases in April 22. Phase 1 centres around a complete rebuild of the North Stand into a much larger structure to house more than 7,300 extra seats. Cool. So where's inside this warehouse? Any pictures? This is Birmingham Live, so chances are this whole article's bollocks, and what they say is going to be in there isn't. So I guess that's that. Thank you, Birmingham Live. I hate you. Bye-bye. So back to the story. Other developments at the ground include upgrades to the south stand with new brick and metal facades and public realm improvements. Okay, that's the nice looking end. Should we have a look at that? No, I've lost it. Hey ho, but it is lovely. But I'll do another video on that maybe when I mention Aston Hall because it's very lovely. All right. The 125-year-old Villa Park Stadium was originally designed by Archibald Leitch and is one of the world's oldest football stadia. Is that the singular for stadium? Yes. It regularly sees attendances of more than 41,000. Fair enough, and they all come in a car each. They should car share more, guys. Car share. A second phase of improvements yet to be submitted would see upgrades to transport connections near the stadium. Now, don't know about you, but if you were planning on something that clearly is already lacking in public transport or parking or whatever for the current numbers, which are around 41,000, why would you tackle the bigger end of the stadium first before you tackle the transport links, especially when we're clearly in the phase of the world that is phasing out cars completely? So now you need definitely more trains, or definitely get the tram back, like the rest of Birmingham. Basically, everywhere that had a tram lost the trams in like the 50s, I think, and then maybe the 60s. And now all those old tram lines are basically being reincarnated because they realise actually they were a great idea. And even then, they were electric sometimes. So a bit mad. So we're all going back in time as usual. But again, go back in the... I'll do more videos on my views on this kind of shit. But you know what I mean. So he declined to comment. That's Grimshaw, the actual place, and Villa has been contacted for comment. So yeah, that's that. And this was news by Architects Journal. So I hope you've learned something there. I've got nothing else to show you. No, nothing really. Well, the old pictures of Villa Park. Oh, I did look at something about these lights that were put in. I don't know if it was Osram or the originals were Osram, and then a German company puts them in to televise this particularly special Liverpool match. I might be chatting shit. I was reading about it the other day. But there you go. And people were arguing about where the lights came from. But apparently they were really iconic, these old floodlights, and they're no longer there. And I can see what they mean, because like Edgbaston Cricket Ground on Pershall Road, is it, in Birmingham city centre, in Edgbaston, obviously. That's got some really nice floodlights as well. Well, that's probably the most I'm ever going to talk about football. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope this was fairly watchable. Well done, Aston Villa, I guess. And see you in the next one. This has been a Brummy Wonders. Throw some tips in the comments if you do want to push me in a certain direction, or this was crap, or you just know how I could improve it. Don't tell me to talk slower, but there you go. Thank you very much. Have a lovely time with your life, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta. Bloody hell, forgot the thing. I was going to show you the thing about the Adidas deal, which is hot news off the press, to be honest, 2 hours ago, and it's only 8:45 on the 9th of January 2024 right now. So you heard it here, possibly first, unless you're a massive Amy Wilson fan in Birmingham Mail. Avoid it if you can. But anyway, Aston Villa have reportedly struck a long-term deal with the kit manufacturer Adidas, worth multi-millions of pounds. And they're said to take over from Castor from the start of next season, with the agreement coming to an end following the reported complaints from players at the wet look nature of the season shirts as players sweat. Villa was said to have received new, improved shirts from Castor following the complaints. Weird. It's like they spent the last 20 years trying to nail the wet look thing. And now they don't wear gel anymore. And I guess they want to look dry. That's weird, isn't it? It's weird. All change, please, all change. The wet look stops here. Anyway, that's a bit of news if you're interested. Adidas are stepping on in. Hopefully Kanye West gets involved, and they're all wearing like space boots or something. Anyway, that's a bit of breaking news for you. No more sports talks coming up, because not my thing. But thank you very much. Hope a little bit of local history, and I'll keep you informed about any updates on the subject. Ta-ta.